What's up, everybody? It's D to the J with the roll away, and it is time for another exciting episode 169 of My CP Does Not Define Me. Now, today is going to be a very special episode because I'm gonna start off by saying I'm in one of those moods. Now, I know what you're thinking. What you in the mood about? What you mad about? See, at a certain point in my life, I've always dealt with stuff. Now, trust me, everybody deals with stuff. Everybody deals with, things they don't like. You got to eat your vegetables when you're a kid. You got to go to bed at a certain time because mama told you to. You got to grow up. You got to live. You got to go through stuff. Okay. Now that's not why I'm in one of those moods. I'm in one of those moods today because see, this I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. This show is about to go and undergo a dramatic change. My CP does not define me. Is going to have new guests and new topics, and I'm reaching out to some people per the advice of my boss lady that gave me this opportunity. I got a new computer, bigger, badder, better, stronger, rebuilt, big shout out to Mike Smith for that, my boy helping me out. And I I was bullied a lot as a kid by just a few people. And the reason I'm in one of those moods is because I was told by we were talking about bullying a little bit last night. My roommate and myself were talking about people that whether they stole your money at lunchtime or walked by and hit you or poked you or knocked you down. And this is not just an a once in a while thing. This is an everyday thing. I had food thrown at me when I was in middle school. And a lot of people thinks that it's okay, it's funny. You get a group of people together and you think throwing food or mocking the disabled kid is funny. All this is a form of bullying. And I really I don't like it because it happens far too often. It happens far too much because what happens is a group of people pick a target that they think can be bullied. Now, this is before I knew martial arts. This is before I had the friends that I had. This is before that. I'm 43 years old and I've grown up and learned things and a black belt in martial arts and all this. This is when I was a kid. You know, all I wanted to do, my biggest concern was how do I fit in? Now we're live on New Choice Radio. That's NU Choice Radio. So feel free to comment. If you want to come into my Facebook, you can look me up under DJ Carter. Come look me up and chime in. Feel free to comment. I didn't have a lot of problems in school because I was a good kid. I was easy to get along with. I was, the center of the room. I thought I had to be the center of attention. But there were these people, and there was this, I guess I would call it a clique, that would pick on me. Countless. Steal my lunch money. Rip up my homework for no reason. And until I started standing up for myself and, telling the teacher and, I had to go to the principal's office a couple times. I had to stand up for myself and learn how to fight. I don't like any type of bullying. I never have. Now, I don't care what type of bullying it is. If it's cyberbullying, if it's school bullying, if it's face to face because they're younger than you are, it doesn't matter what type it is. people need to realize, and the title of this show, words hurt, okay? Words are powerful. Once you say something out of your mouth, you can't take it back. You can't change what you say. You can apologize for it. You can say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it. I said it in the heat of the moment. I was upset. But the point is, you said it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to bring up some things in this episode some people may not like. I'm going to say this now. Right. Get over it. Deal with it. You make your bed, you lie in it. Okay? And I'm going to be honest about this. I'm not going to pinpoint one person. I'm not going to pinpoint two. But I am going to define something. Okay? And I'm going to say something I can handle. I don't like being bullied, but I know how to handle myself. And I have friends in real life, and I have friends. Can you stop that dryer buzzer, please? I have friends in virtual reality that are, hey, Daniel, how are you? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I have friends in real life. I have friends on virtual reality. One thing I try not to do at any time is bully anybody. Okay? I don't want to make anybody a victim or seem like they are a victim. Okay? When they're not. Okay? And the first thing I want to talk about is the value of friendship. Okay? I got a friend on virtual reality right now, the godfather of my own son. I love him to death. He's like my brother. I've known him for almost a year now. Quite possibly one of the most energetic people that I know. Helps out anybody that asks. Doesn't ask for money. Is there whenever you need him. And his name is Captain Jack Morgan. Now, I've known this man. This man is not just a man to me. This man is a man among men because he stands up for himself. He stands up for people that are bullied. He stands up for people that are pushed around. He doesn't expect anything back in return. As far as I'm concerned, he never has. But lately, he's been attacked, and it seems like it's coming from all sides. At first, I thought it was just people on the outside. Because that's going to happen. You got people that like you. You got people that don't like you. They're going to call you names when you're successful. They're jealous of what you have. They want what you have. So they're going to come in there and try to take it. They're going to come in there and try to pick you apart. This person's going to say this. This person's going to say that. Now, let me say this. Just because somebody types something on the internet or says something in virtual reality, it doesn't make it true. Okay? We got to stop belittling people and slandering their name on virtual reality. I'm not just talking about Captain Jack. I'm talking about everybody in general. Because you put something out there for people to hear. You put something out there for people to hear. And they suck it up. And when they get information, it's like they got a new toy. Now, some people are going to use that information the right way. Some are going to fight against it and say, hey, that's not right. You shouldn't put that out there. I know this person. Don't do that. Some people are going to take that and slander it all over the internet or put it up on YouTube and talk about what they think they know when in reality they know nothing. Because all they are is jealous of what you have. They want to be in the position you're in. They want to be like you, or they want to copy your profile because you get things done, and they're sitting there at step one trying to figure it out. If you have a problem with somebody, I believe in going to that person and talking it out. I don't believe in spreading lies and spreading rumors and saying a bunch of stuff just to get an edge that you think you have because you say something that isn't true. Captain Jack has never thrown a tantrum. Captain Jack has never been a bully. Captain Jack has been a motivator, a father, a friend, a comforter to almost every person I've ever known. But yet there are people that call him names and make fun of him and say things that they shouldn't be saying. He's a victim. He's this. He's that. He has temper tantrums, blah, blah, blah. No, he doesn't have temper tantrums about anything. He makes a decision and he goes with it. If a person designs a world and it's their world, that's what it is. It's theirs. They designed it. They worked on it. They came in. Now, somebody can put an office in that world that's their office, but it doesn't make it their world. If Captain Jack decides to take that world down, he has every right to take that world down. He doesn't have to let anybody know. He doesn't have to put it up on the internet that he's going to take it down or why. Some people may think so. Some people may have the opinion that he should, okay? But that's just what it is. It's an opinion, okay? Now, I'm not trying to attack anybody or make anybody feel bad or nothing like that, so don't get the wrong idea, okay? But what you're not going to do is tell my friend or call my friend a name and say something and think I'm not going to stand up. Now, let me say this too. Captain Jack is perfectly capable of standing up for himself. I'm not going to sit there and say that he can't because he's done it. And he's also stood up for other people, okay? And he's defended other people. Maybe not in the way they wanted him to defend them, but he did the best he could with what he had. And that's really all you can ask of anybody, to do the best they can with what they've got in the time they've got. See, somebody like Captain Jack, who is talented and in life has gifts. Captain Jack has so many gifts. And it's not just, to sit down and talk with him. It's to learn from him. He's a builder.
He's amazing.
He takes care of his patient. He does a marvelous job. Long-term care is one of the hardest jobs out there, okay? Mm-hmm. Because you're dependent upon 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. And you have to be a very special person to be a long-term care worker to care for a patient like that. Miss Winnie does it for her daughter. Miss Winnie has done it for others. Captain Jack does it for his patient. Captain Jack is the type of person that will give you the shirt off his back and say nothing and expect nothing in return, but don't cross him. See, because I'm the same way. When you say something about someone that isn't true, just because it's your opinion, it doesn't make it true. Okay? Again, I'm not trying to verbally bash anybody, but I keep my friends close. And you know what? I keep my enemies closer. Not that I have a lot of them. Okay? But I know that I will protect my friends because they will do the same for me.
Yep.
I believe in screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me. Let me go into that, okay? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. There are people that expect, when I say jump, how high. I'm not like that. That's not how life should work. Because, see, here's how life works for me. I told Kim when we were dating, and I'm jumping to this because it's important. Being with me is a lot of work because I need a lot of help and a lot of things. Okay? She says, and I don't. So I had to kind of sit back for a minute, and I'm going to share some personal things about my life, and I'm going to get into personal stuff in a minute. But Kim is the type of person that will do and do and do and do. And even if she's upset, she won't say anything until it gets to a certain point, and then it kind of fumes over. And I'm the same way. And that's why we work so well together, because there has to be communication. Now, I bring that up to say this. If you have a direct problem with somebody, talk about it with that person, okay? When you say you're not going to belittle somebody or you're not going to attack somebody, and then you bring their personal life and what they do or don't have into it, that's belittling. That's an attack, okay? And you say a person is a victim or making themselves a victim. No one makes themselves a victim that tells the truth. Now, everybody is capable of lying. I've never known any of my friends that I hold dear to lie. Now, I'm noticing that I'm getting pop-ups that people are commenting, but I'm not seeing it. So if you're commenting on, come to my Facebook and comment there, because I'm actually live on the show right now. If you want to comment on this, if you want to say something, say something. If you want to ask a question, feel free. We're live, and I'm going to answer the questions you ask. But when you ask them, be prepared for an answer, because I'm not going to pull any punches. When someone that I care about is nearly brought to tears because their personal life has been drugged through the ground and brought into something that doesn't need to be brought into, I'm going to get angry, and I'm going to stand up and defend them, okay, the best way I can. And they would do the same for me. I love Captain Jack, okay? I love Captain Jack with all my heart, because this man immediately started mentoring me. It wasn't just, I didn't have to ask for it. He just became this almost like this guardian angel over my life. Now, I know some people are thinking, how can you invest that much in one man? When you see him, when you meet him, when you know him, he's been on this show before, go watch it. He talked about his personal life and what he does and what he's been through. Mm-hmm. He can't talk about all of it because his patient has rights, and he doesn't want to violate that in any way. Thank you. I was looking for the word, couldn't find it. But what I am not going to have is Captain Jack be dissected and be dragged through the mud. I don't care if you think you know, you don't. Because he's never told you. He doesn't broadcast his life out in virtual reality or over the internet for somebody to see or have, and he shouldn't have to. And I'm gonna be damned if I'm gonna let anybody, especially people who are supposed to be his friends, do that. Mm-hmm. Now, how little they do it or how big they do it doesn't matter. Once you do it, once you tell someone to step up and be a man and this, and this, and do your job and this, and this, and you go off on them as if you own them, you've already violated and disrespected them.
Correct.
You've gouged into them, and you can't take that back, because whether you did it in a moment of haste, or whether you did it in a moment of wrongdoing, or whether you did it not meaning to do it, the point is you did it.
Correct.
And I'll sit there and I'll listen and say, I understand. And there's two sides to every story. See, you got one side over here, you got one side over here, and in the middle there's the truth. But when one person tells the truth from the beginning, and you know that person, and you watch that person, not just in one aspect of virtual reality, but you've been to that person's bingo, you've helped out at that person's bingo, you've been to that person's comedy clubs, you've helped out at that person's comedy clubs, you've performed, and you watch. Captain Jack cares about what he puts out. Okay? Now, I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my life. Okay? I'm choosing to expose just a little piece of my life. And I'm exposing this because I think it needs to be exposed, and it may help somebody else. There are thousands of people right now that are disabled, thinking that because they are in a chair, or because they have a disability, or because of the way they look, or because they weigh 300 pounds or 400 pounds, or because they have no legs, so on, that they cannot find true love. I want to mention this, and I want to be very careful how I say it. You have to be careful with true love, because your heart can fall faster than your brain will come to realize. Mm-hmm. And when you put your heart out first, thank you, Robin. When you put your heart out first, your brain tends to go, hey, whoa, come on back. Whoa, hey, I'm over here. And you're like, no, so pretty. Gotta go toward the pretty. I gotta go toward the pretty. She's perfect. She can never do anything wrong. On the outside, she's perfectly nice and never does anything to anybody, but on the inside, she's Satan herself, and she's about to eat your soul. Now, how could that possibly happen? Because here's where it gets tricky. This is where love gets tricky, okay? To love somebody, when I love, automatically I love unconditionally. My mother taught me that. My mother does it. She's been burned for it. I've been burned for it. But it's all I know how to do, whether you're my friend who is male, whether you're my friend who is female, whether I'm in love with you or not, or whether you disgust me. I am what I am with all that I am in that point. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? When I love hard. When I don't like you, you are the scum of the earth, and I want to push your brain through a Pez dispenser and watch that sumbitch ooze out and flop on the ground. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, okay? But when it comes to love, everybody gets blinded by love. Now we're nearing the half hour of the show, and this is where my internet has cut out twice. So I'm hoping we stay good and everything is great. So stay with me. Don't go anywhere. If I lose you, please come back. But I'm hoping we won't lose anybody. I want to talk about this because this is the hard part.
our guest is supposed to come on too, right?
Yeah, we have a guest that's coming later, a little bit later. Hopefully, they come here pretty soon. But what I'm saying is, when you love somebody, I don't know any other way to love other than with all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now that can get you in trouble. Okay,
True.
my first girlfriend that I was with, man, I spent in 4 years, I probably spent close to $15,000. Now I'm gonna tell you, when you got credit cards and they think you got money, boy, they want to love you quick. Women will go towards men with money. They think they got that money and they will latch on to that junk tighter than a slippery leather wallet. And the whole time, she, oh no, baby, it ain't about the money. It ain't about the gifts you. It ain't about the gifts you give me. Bullshit. I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know.
I'm not like that.
Some people are like that. Now, Kim is not. I don't care if you get her a Pez dispenser or a pair of $900 shoes. Not that I've done that.
Not yet.
Or an Xbox or a cupcake or a Frappuccino. She is content with whatever. Would you grab my drink? Whatever she gets. She's not selfish. She's not picky. Now she okay. She's picky when it comes to food. Sometimes not my food, but I mean she eats what I make because I know how to cook. And I told her I know how to cook. When I first met her, I said, "Girl, I know how to cook. I'm gonna fatten you up. You're too skinny." Okay. 93 pounds she weighed when she was first here. 93. Her lowest was 91. She ain't 93 damn pounds no more. She up in the 120s. Okay. Got a little meat on her now. Okay. Can go out in the forest and hunt on her own. Okay. Get y'all get what I'm saying. It's got a little
The
meat.
wind won't kill me no more.
Right. I don't go, oh, I'm sorry, maybe I ain't mean to blow you over. Oh, wait, get back up. Okay. So look. So why did I bring up the love thing? Okay. I was married for 7 years. Okay.
Not to me though.
I did this guy. We gonna get here. I'm going back a little bit. I was married for 7 years to someone that I thought was perfect. I thought could do no wrong. But I was very, very quickly deceived by the rose-colored glasses. Now, something my brother told me a long time ago. Be careful of quiet women. Because if quiet women don't say anything to you, they're going to say something about you. Okay? Oh no, bro, no, this ain't no, that ain't gonna happen with this person, man. This person's great. Now I'm not saying her name. If you know, you don't. If you know, you know. You don't, you don't. But this person, I gave her whatever she wanted, whatever she needed, as long as we had the money for it. I would do my best to make her happy. Now I'm going to say this, and I want you guys to pay attention. Disability or not, money cannot buy happiness. And this goes along with the words and how can you defend it and what do you do? She would always tell me that she loved me. We would very, 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 very seldom fight. But I kept noticing, I said, who in the world puts makeup on before they go to bed. And I asked my brother about it, and he said,
Hey,
hey, Christy, how are you? I asked my brother about it, and he said, you need to be careful because most women don't do that. But again, I trusted this woman. And I love this woman. And I married this woman in a year. Folks, listen. I'm going to say something right now that the world needs to hear. A person needs to be around you more than 6 months to a year for the real shit to hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let me say that again. A person needs to be around you for more than 6 months to a year. And I'm talking constantly, not just over the phone. These over the phone relationships, y'all can hang up and it be done. Okay? Y'all can be, oh Lord, she's so great. How often do you talk? 3-4 times a day. Well, you know what? When the phone gets hot or y'all get tired or y'all fall asleep, y'all hang up. When she is around you 24/7, something is going to irritate you about each other. Okay? Kim and I had to learn how to coexist when we were irritated because we convinced each other that we weren't. Okay? And we went along the lines of everything is fine. And then all of a sudden, when something irritated us, it happened.
You are no different.
But see, I don't have to be because you knew that coming in. And that's important. When I say communication is important, don't hide who you are because the truth is going to come out eventually and you're going to expose your daggone self and look like a fool. Okay? I didn't have to change because I was who I was from the get-go. Okay? Okay? When stuff was said about me by somebody or by some family member or by whoever, I said I didn't like it. I said I didn't like it when she was on the phone. I said I didn't like it when she was off the phone. She went outside. I still screamed, I don't like it. And that person knew I didn't like it. Okay? But she never once asked me to change. Now, this is where love gets real.
If you can't be yourself, why pretend?
That's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle right there. You should not have to ask somebody to change. The change should occur if they wish for it. If you feel, and I'm going to say this out loud, like I've said everything else out loud, if you feel that you need to change, do so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, I will give you an example of Kim. Okay? Then I'll give you an example of me, and Kim can do the same thing. This is Kim. Okay? 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. Oh, got to do the dishes, got to mop the floor, got to do the laundry, got to go over here. Oh, look, there's a squirrel over there outside the window. Oh, got to walk the dog. Hey, baby, how you doing? Let me get you. Oh. It is like, oh my God, look at the kitty bird squirrel. There it is. Got to go mop the floor. And you're an auctioneer, 20, 25, 30, 30, up to 40 now, 40 and a half. And you're going on and what's going to be done and what's not going to be done. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to get out of bed and I'm going to go poop. And I'm going to get in the chair, and now we're gradually picking up speed, and my voice is normal. Now we've got a little momentum, and there we go. She's just, and I'm like, will you stop? And when she stops, she goes, what did I do? I go, everything. But the truth is, you can tell when you fit. Because where I'm weaker, she may be stronger. Where she's weak in some areas, I may be stronger. It is not, no one has the perfect relationship. You're going to fight. I'm going to let you know now, the glove's going to be up like this, and sometimes you just bobbing and weaving, and she going to elbow you right in the damn side of your head, and you ain't going to see it coming. Okay? Now, listen, let me also say this. Words. Be careful with family. Because sometimes family will interject where they don't need to. Remember that you're marrying each other, or you are with each other. Now, you do marry into the family. That is true. You can't change the family she's got, and she can't change the family you have. Don't try. You're lucky enough to get one. Okay? The past is in the past. Let it stay there. That's hard to do for some people. The past is the past. Let it stay there. I used to live in the past because I was hurt all the time. The truth is, Kim stayed in the past because she was hurt all the time, and that was all she knew. Okay?
Yay.
All right, let me bring our special guest in real quick. Give me just a moment. Come on there, little mousy. There he is, Captain Jack. You with us?
I do believe I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, we can. The one and only Captain Jack Morgan is with us right now. And I know, I believe you've been listening to the show so far. What do you think? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. I'm definitely hanging in there. It was very sad that you had to end up using your platform to discuss the situations at hand when it came to me, but I do appreciate you taking the time and the effort to at least put it out there. It's unfortunate that it even has to be discussed, to be quite frank. I mean, it's from the jump, since I've been in the metaverse, all I've ever tried to do is, be a decent person. And for the most part, everybody's been really decent to me back. However, as of the last, 6 months to a year, maybe a little bit more, there have been those that we would consider as maybe trolls that, exactly from what you say, they are jealous of what one person has or a group of people, and they want it for themselves. So the way they battle it is by trying to cut you off at the knees, so to speak, so that you are shorter and they are taller. And then, they tell their story, how you did this to them and they didn't do anything to you, that they're just they're responding to your bullying and your attacks and whatnot. And you're sitting there with your hands up in the air going, what the hell did I do?
Right.
And
it's amazing how one side is always completely innocent and the other side is totally the one that caused the problem.
Of course. And, what's interesting about this one is, yes, it did come more from within than it did on the outside. Granted, most of it came from the outside, but it had veered off. It was dying off. There were still some things that I was being shown that were, just kind of irritating, but, water off a duck's back. I don't have time to deal with it. I've made posts on my Instagram stating that very fact. If anybody is following me on my Instagram, go look at my very last post, Captain_Jack_Morgan22, if you want to see what I posted. And it's meant for those who have been trying to do me harm. Not for the ones that are actually true friends, like case in point, Mr. DJ and Miss Goddess. It's not meant for them. It's to let these bad people know how I'm feeling about the whole thing, And I couldn't have said it better myself, the way that the AI voice had come out and said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. And, I've moved on, and I would wish that they would too. But these recent situations that have happened within people that I had considered friends disturbed me, because things that what I was being told, and it was just, where did this come from? It makes no sense. And for the reasoning that I found out, was the reason allegedly that there was the main purpose of why people were getting irritated. I would like an opportunity to speak right now on. If they're not here, it is what it is. If they are here, then they're going to hear it. If somebody knows them and wants to tell them to come talk to me, by all means, I'm more than happy to discuss it with them. But I would like this opportunity right now to explain the situation regarding my world, as you had mentioned near the beginning of your show, and how that the world got taken down. So I would like to put that out there.
The floor is yours, Captain. Go ahead.
All right. Well, the world is called Morgan Enterprises. What that is that was supposed to be a business with a collective of people that could build, script, people who were digital artists, people who had a lot of connections with different various things, that were very creative individuals that wanted to build a world or worlds together as a collective. And part of the hopes, at the end of the year, usually Meta would end up holding these contests for the best world. First prize would be $50,000. Just a great big contest, to all the creators. And I thought, man, if we could just get a jump on this now, imagine what we possibly could build by the time this thing comes around. How many worlds we could build? If we built 5 worlds, and we put a world in like each world in a different person's name, so maybe we can get 5 entries and maybe even have a better chance at getting some of this prize money. If nothing else, maybe creating some worlds that people could enjoy. Well, that was the goal. But that's not what happened eventually. Eventually, what had ended up happening is people didn't seem to have time. Getting meetings together were really scarce. They were difficult to do. And I get it. Real life is real life. Metaverse life is metaverse life. If you have something going on in real life that you need to take care of, then take care of it by all means. I'm not, unreasonable, and nor was anyone else. We got it. We understood. Having said that, because of situations where some people just had a lot on their plate now. There was not going to be much time to deal with Morgan Enterprises. 3 of the people that were, the main players, hadn't even heard from, didn't know what was going on with them, period. They hadn't been on in the metaverse that I had ever seen. And it just made me scratch my head wondering, well, what's really going on? And then one of the people decided to message me and tell me that they no longer had time for Morgan Enterprises, that they had too many other things they were going to be dealing with. And, they were upset with me, I'm guessing, for other situations that I'm not going to get into, because I'm not here to bash people. I'm just saying the reason why I unpublished Morgan Enterprises. I looked at it as, all right, these main players that are considered the board of directors, most of them were going to be gone. And I just, there was like maybe 3 or 4 helpers that could not be gotten a hold of. And some of them said, I'm not doing anything. You haven't been doing anything. Well, as a collective, we needed to do it. It was not just about me. And I thought, well, all right, if nobody's interested in this anymore, I may as well unpublish it. There's no point in having it. If we're not going to use it, sure, I can keep the world up. But for what reason? I mean, we were supposed to have collective meetings maybe once a week to discuss what we were going to be doing, actually getting together with one another and, build a camaraderie with people and make new friends and get these people started with us and go places, and do things. I mean, I literally was considering making it an LLC and making it a real life business. So if we were putting things together, possibly we could actually make real honest money with it. But, it didn't seem that anybody had the interest. So I went ahead and unpublished it. And apparently because of that, I'm a victim, or I'm playing the victim, or I'm having a tantrum. I mean, it's an interesting way to have a tantrum. I mean, usually if you're a business owner and, 70% of the employees that you have all of a sudden walk out on you or are nowhere to be found, and it's hard for you to run your business,
You don't
you
have
may
much
have
of
to
a business.
you don't have much of a business. You may as well close your doors. And
Right.
so that's what I did. Now, would I be against ever republishing it? Not at all, because I put it out there as if everyone could show that they're actually serious about it, that they want to do something with this and not just, have a place to go hang out or whatever. They actually seriously want to see this succeed and us as a whole succeed. Well, then sure, let's get this thing together. Let's all have a meeting. Let's get this together. Let's resurrect, the dead, so to speak, and then let's get to work. But that's not what the case is. The case is, I guess, that I'm being criticized now for dropping without letting anyone else know.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You said, and also the board of directors said, the final decision goes through Captain Jack Morgan, correct?
That was actually true. At a meeting, it was said that, the final say about anything that goes on is Captain Jack's. It goes through him, which would be me. And if that's the case, I don't need a meeting to shut down my own world.
Right.
Now, if I had deleted the world, maybe that would be different because people had some things in the world that maybe they liked, that maybe they didn't have a copy of. I haven't done that. If anybody, if they don't want to see Morgan Enterprise, succeed or whatever, that's perfectly fine. But if there's something there that they want, all right, well, make a blank world and I'll be more than happy to drop off whatever it is that you want to drop off if you think I've taken something from you.
Right.
I haven't. Everybody put their own stuff in. There was a few things that I did add, because I thought that maybe they would like them. However, that's not the case. I'm not here to take anybody's things.
Right. Let me ask you this, because I
Sure.
think this question needs to be asked for future reference. Okay. What have you learned with all this that you've been through? And the people that are going to stand beside you are going to stand beside you. The people that are not, well, they're a fart in the wind, as far to throw it out there. What have you learned from this in the people that you choose, and how do you go about making it better?
Well, I mean, the one thing that you unfortunately have to realize is that you can't trust everyone. People may have good intentions and they may show them at first, but until you really get to know someone, hang out with them quite a bit, talk to them, you really never know what they're all about. Now, that does not mean that you have to put your personal business out there to get to know somebody. Case in point, when it comes to, for you and your wife, whatever you decide you're going to share, then that's fine by me for you guys to tell me. The story of you and the unfortunate accident with a mattress, and I'll leave it there. I'm not going to get into that, but you shared that because you turned it into a comedy routine. If anybody wants to know, they can inquire about it, and I'm sure you can do the routine for them, but it's not for me to say. If that was a private conversation that you had with me, I'm not about to go spread out that information about you to other people. It could be very embarrassing and very damaging. So I'm not that type of person. Granted, don't get it twisted. If I am attacked, I will fight back. And I can fight as dirty, if not worse, than anybody else I know. I just choose not to because I'm an actual adult and I don't need to do that kind of stuff. I'm too old to be playing these little children-style games.
It's true.
There are people. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was, I was asked for help. I was asked for help in a legal situation, and I said that I would help, but due to concerns of retaliation, I did not want to give, my government name, which I would have to do in the courts.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, the other side of that aisle, that was this person I'm not even going to get into because they're not really worth mentioning, but they had a person that they wanted as a witness, but it was the same scenario. They didn't want to give their government name due to fear of retaliation.
Right.
And yet that person tried to bring the other person in as a witness anyways. Well, allegedly, from what I know, because this is only what I was told, The judge talked to that witness and said, what is your name? And they gave this excuse, well, I'm not giving my name due to fear of retaliation. The other person tried to say the same thing, that, whatever it was, the Sixth Amendment right and whatever. They were morons. But anyways, I obviously didn't know what the Sixth Amendment meant. But the judge did not allow the witness, period. And this was over a Zoom call, and hung up on the person, on that individual. And when we spoke about it later, myself and the other person involved, notice I'm not saying names, I'm not saying sexual orientation, it's just the person, because I don't want anything going back on either one of these people, or any of them, quite frankly. But I can talk about it because it wasn't my situation, but I'm not giving too much detail. That being said, when we did discuss it, me and this other person, we were like, go figure. So I guess it really would have been pointless to use you as a witness, because they'd have done the same thing to you. And, it's all right, well, there's that.
We've got about 9 minutes before we close, and I want to ask you this.
Sure.
Do you believe, and for anybody else out there that may be being pushed in a situation where they need to defend themselves, do you believe there are some things that don't need to be defended? They just are?
Yes.
Well, of course. And I'm going to give you a prime example. My voice. I've been teased about my voice since I was a child. As I said in the first time that you ever interviewed me, I was adopted at 5 days old by an English mother and an Irish father. They had very heavy accents. But because of that, the way I grew up, people made fun of me constantly. I literally, as a young boy, tried to end my life and unalive myself multiple times because I couldn't take the teasing. But of course, back then I wasn't, mature enough to handle the situation. Now I am. Granted, people say, oh, well, you've been faking and frauding everybody. How do you figure? Have you lived my life? Did you go to the same schools that I went to? Did you have to endure the constant teasing? No, you didn't. You may have had to deal with bullies in your time. That's on you. And that's none of my business. You don't have to share that. I'm speaking not only you guys, but any of your audience that may ever listen to this podcast. Nobody has to tell me any ways that they were bullied. But I don't feel that I should have to justify my life because somebody else doubts it. That's a them problem. That's a them problem. It's not a me problem. Right. And people can say, well, I've got evidence. I've got this. I've got that. Okay. Fair enough. There was growing up, I had to learn how to, I guess you could say, quote unquote, speak like everyone else. I had to because I got tired of being tormented by my voice. It wasn't until I became an adult that I just said, you know what, I don't really give a shit what anybody, I don't really care about what anybody thinks about my voice.
You were right the first time.
Okay, so then I'll say it again. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about the voice. But be that as it may, I've had to learn how to alter it. If anybody wants to hear what I sound like, go to YouTube, type in Enigma, ENIGMA 2130. Now, that was a metaverse movie that I was in before we ever had legs, where I had to alter my voice to sound like a regular person. Because they said, could you, everyone else sounds this way. Can you sound this way? I said, yes, I can do my best.
Wow.
So you had to change yourself for stupid people.
You had to change
No. I had to change myself for a part in the movie, which was fine.
Oh, okay.
Which was fine. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, my character's name was Tommy in the movie. I loved the film. I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a great time with some great people. At that time, we were having a great time. And I had to alter my voice to do what I had to do. Now, people may say, well, I've got video of, they've been saying all this, I've got video of you. Yes, because I decided I didn't want to throw that on the social media and be that person or be me on social media. I wanted to try to be somebody different. Sure. But in the metaverse, I chose to be me. I chose to be who I am because nobody could see me. They would see a cartoon character in front of them. It didn't really matter. So why would it matter how I spoke? But if they're looking at videos of me, actual live videos, then yes, I altered my voice so that people wouldn't compare the two. Because, to be honest, I have an issue with, the way I look. I'm at 6'1". I was almost 300 pounds. I didn't like the way I looked. I was very self-conscious, and I didn't want anybody associating, well, oh my God, that's Captain Jack. Oh my God, he's a fat ass. Look at it. I didn't want to deal with that and more bullying over and over. So I just, wanted people to know me as the Avatar, and that was it. I've actually met a couple of people in real life from the metaverse, 2 people. And, one person lived 4 miles away from me. They now live somewhere else. They've moved. And as well as the other person moved, but they worked with me at a haunted house I worked at 2 years ago. I hired them on as security personnel. They didn't criticize me. I mean, they were decent people, and it kind of got me thinking I could just be myself with more people.
I love that.
Then the more I started opening up, the more people started looking at me funny and, started digging in and trying to find more. Let's find out more about Captain. Why? I'm not doing it to them. What are you gaining by doing it to me?
That's the question.
All you're doing is hurting somebody who does have feelings. I try to do what I can and help who I can when I can, and I'm not looking for any trouble from anyone.
But the way, to me, that's the way you've always been. And we've got about 4 minutes to close out the show, but I want to say this. One thing about you that I love is your honesty. And it's not just, it's the genuinism of who you are. I like who you are. And I want to ask you this, if you can answer it sort of quick. When did you learn and how did you learn to accept your true self?
When I took a step back and looked at myself in the mirror and realized the only thing I really have to do is try to be a better man than I was the day before. That has nothing to do with anyone but me.
Wow.
So if I really wanted to be happy, I had to be happy with myself first. And then, quite frankly, if you didn't like me, F off. Take a piss, as they would say.
Right.
I don't need to deal with you. You're either, as another one of my videos said so eloquently, you're either on my side, by my side, or in the effing way. Choose wisely.
Right.
And that's the way I'm living. So if for anyone that may be out there, I cannot see how many people are here. I hope there's plenty. But for whoever may be here listening, if you do know who I am and you consider me a friend, then you have a friend for life. If you don't consider me a friend, if you think I'm full of shit, the block button is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful commodity. Feel free to block me at any time. I don't care, because I'm done worrying about what anyone else had to say. Yes, I'll admit, I've lost my passion for building and scripting and all that. I don't feel like doing it anymore because the people that I was doing it with don't seem to want to do it with me. But that's all right. Eventually, I'll pick myself up, I will dust myself off, and I'll get right back in there, and I will build things by myself that will knock their socks off, and it will be great. Again, the people that I have been talking about, I don't hate them. I don't, because I still do consider them my friends. But what they did say, they can't really take back, but I do feel an apology is needed. Now, I will say, I'm sorry if you don't think that I've been there for you in any which way, shape, or form. You should have come to me and talked to me as an adult, and we could have worked it out. So for what it's worth, I apologize if you don't think I've been there for you. But with that being said, now it's your turn. You have to apologize to me if you want to move forward with me. If not, I'll know, and I will just move forward on my own.
I want to personally thank you for being on the show again, because you have been a mentor to me since day one. Thank you for coming on and to share your side of this. And I'm glad that I was able to use the platform that I have to come to your defense, because it's worth it. Because you've also came to ours, and we're very glad to have you as a friend for life. We will have you on the show again. and hopefully in a much more lighthearted demeanor where we can laugh a little bit, love a little bit, and go from there. But I do agree with everything that you said, because the only person that you can truly be is yourself. Thank y'all so much for being part of the show. Please tune in next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for episode 170 of My CP Does Not Define Me.
Hold on.